Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 million by 1 million online rendezvous. This is Sramana Mitra, founder and CEO of 1M by 1M, coming to you live from Silicon Valley. This is part of our programming for the accelerator. 1M by 1M, as you know, is the first and only global virtual accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue. And we work with tech startups and tech-enabled services startups only, but no matter where you are, we are happy to work with you. We are live right now on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And what we do in these sessions is a bunch of Q&A. If you are looking for feedback on your particular startup venture, please come to one of our online public roundtables. These are free roundtables that happen over a WebEx call. You need to go to our website, 1mby1m.com, and go to the free public roundtable section. You will find there the whole schedule as well as registration links. If you register to pitch, you will get instructions on how to prepare for the pitch session. And that's the way for us to work together on your venture, strategize, brainstorm. These are safe working sessions, the roundtables, and they happen on Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. Pacific time. So I hope to see some of you at those sessions and work with you on your particular projects. Today, what I'm going to do is once again go through a bunch of the internet. I was a computer scientist at MIT when I started my first company in 1994. And if you remember, and some of you were not around, so you would not remember, but you may have read in the history that was the year Netscape went public. Netscape was the first browser, and that kind of aligns with my entrepreneurial journey. I started my first company at MIT, and then I left with a master's. I didn't stay for the PhD, and then I went on to do 3 companies in a row all through the 90s during the first dot-com boom. And 2 of those 3 companies were actually AI companies. So the first one, Intarka, was doing lead generation and qualification using artificial intelligence techniques. And I did all the software development work in India. It was one of the first ever product companies out of India to raise venture capital in Silicon Valley. And it was very difficult. I think some 44 VCs said no before I got a venture capitalist NEA to say yes. So at that time, the idea of doing development work in India was not yet popular or accepted. Of course, that changed within a few years, but at that time in history was very difficult. But in the AI cycle also, it was very early. People were not yet ready to fund AI startups. So I had 2 strikes against me, and in 2 categories, I was too early. My third company was Uma, and that was personalized fashion. It was one of the first fashion e-commerce companies, if not the first fashion e-commerce company in the history of the internet. And the technology that we were using was personalization technology using AI. So I know a thing or two about AI from a computer scientist point of view. I also know a thing or two about AI from a business point of view. So I will, in this talk, very quickly, I'm going to speak from the point of view of assuming that each one of you who are listening to this are interested in starting an AI venture of your own. And I will try to cover what do you need to do to achieve that. And there will be three broad segments that I will cover. First, I'll talk about the idea. How do you come up with an idea? What problem should you try to solve? And what are the trends in the market? Secondly, I will talk about methodology, and this is where how do you get your company going, and this is where the bootstrapping techniques are vital, and I will cover 3 key bootstrapping techniques. And thirdly, I will talk about some of the case studies that you can learn from, that you can access through the 1 Million by 1 Million blog. 1M by 1M, as you know, is the first and only global virtual accelerator for startups. And we follow a case study based methodology. So we do have a lot of case studies of AI companies, AI startups, and so forth that you can learn a lot from. And I will point you to some of that. So the first thing we want to cover is how do you come up with an idea? AI is a very crowded field right now. So you're going to, first and foremost, you're going to need to look at horizontal platforms versus vertical domain-specific AI. Now, the big horizontal platforms are coming out of Google, IBM, Microsoft, and so on. So if you want to do as a startup a horizontal platform, I would argue that you need to have prior successful startup experience. If you are a first-time entrepreneur trying to do an AI startup, I would caution you against going for horizontal platforms. Those are harder to build, a lot more expensive to build, and therefore they require that you raise a lot more capital, which is harder for first-time entrepreneurs to do. And AI startups find it difficult to raise capital always, because there's always the question, does the AI work? So you're going to have to bootstrap your way to some level of validation, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But I would say in the debate between horizontal platform versus vertical domain-specific solutions, my guidance to you would be to focus on the vertical solutions. Which brings you to the question, what domain should you be working on? Now, again, because it's a crowded field, there is activity going on in every domain of industry where AI is being applied. The question boils down to, who are you? What is your particular domain-specific expertise? What do you know? What insights do you know? And what unfair advantage do you have? And if you can articulate a particular domain and a particular problem that is an open problem in a domain where you have expertise, that is where it's a good idea to start something. Of course, you're going to have to do intense competitive analysis and positioning to figure out whether there is still a gap or not. So those are, pieces of guidance on how to come up with an idea. I will give you one other pointer, and this is to our blog case studies. Go to the 1M by 1M website. That's 1M by 1M.com. The number 1, the letter M, BY, the number 1, the letter M.com, and go to the blog. On the left navigation panel of the blog, you will find artificial intelligence as one of the navigation topics. That leads you into the Thought Leaders in Artificial Intelligence series of interviews on the blog. And there are numerous of those. This has been going on for many years. Every single interviewee that I have brought on, I have asked them this question. What, from your vantage point, you are either an AI CEO or a founder of an AI startup, or you are somehow involved in doing some level of thought leadership from some vantage point at a larger company, so on and so forth. What are the open problems that you see around you from your vantage point? And they have answered those questions. So you will see answers to this question in every single interview from different industry sectors. We have AI in healthcare, we have AI in education, online education, we have AI in industrial automation, manufacturing, you know, all the different categories of AI have shown up in this thought leadership interview series, and I have tried to extract pointers to open problems. So this is a good fertile ground for you to go look for an idea in. The idea is supremely important. But then I will cover methodology and how do you take an idea and actually turn that into a company. And this is where bootstrapping is absolutely essential. So I'm going to give you a little bit of the philosophical premise of 1 million by 1 million of why I started this venture. In 2010, we launched 1 million by 1 million as an inclusive accelerator. And our observation was that the whole incubation and acceleration industry is working as a feeder into the angel and venture capital world. Now, the venture capital world wants you to go from 0 to $100 million of revenue in 5 to 7 years. That is hypergrowth. Hypergrowth is not a natural state in business. And to do that kind of high velocity hypergrowth company, you also need a market size, a market opportunity that is upward of $1 billion. That again is not normal conditions. So you are going to, if you want to do a venture funded company, you will have to meet all those criteria. And my experience on both sides of the venture capital table, as an entrepreneur raising money as well as working on the venture capital side, I learned that over 99% of the companies that come out to raise money don't succeed because they don't meet this criteria. But many of these were good ideas and they deserve to be built, but not built as a venture funded startup, but built as a bootstrap venture. And I thought that there is no support mechanism to help these companies grow. And that's what I decided to do with 1 million by 1 million, not just cater to the venture style companies. We have venture style companies that we cater to, obviously, but also be inclusive and cater also to the other 99% of the entrepreneurs that may not be ready to raise venture capital. So in our methodology, we follow a lean, capital efficient bootstrap startup philosophy. And our mantra is bootstrap first, raise money later, or not at all. So the beauty of bootstrapping is if you can get your company to validation and traction, VCs come chasing you. So one of the sayings in our community of 500,000 people that we cater to is, do not go to VCs as beggars, go as kings. And the way you can do that is by bootstrapping your way to validation and potentially traction. So that is my guidance to you on why bootstrapping is essential. So there are 3 bootstrapping techniques that I want to make you aware of. And most likely you're going to be using all 3 of them. So first of the lot is bootstrapping with a paycheck. I'm assuming all of you are working in a hot field of AI and analytics, and all of you have jobs. This is not a field where you have expertise and you're sitting on the sideline. There's a lot of open position, and I'm assuming that you either have a job or can find a job, and therefore you have the privilege of bootstrapping with a paycheck. So hold on to your job, keep your job, and start working on your startup with your job in place and the money coming in through your paycheck so that you can pay your bills, and do not put that extra pressure on yourself of having to scramble to pay your bills. And what does that do? That gives you the luxury of starting to do your research and validation work and learning work without having that pressure to also meet your financial needs, whether it's your personal financial needs, your family's financial needs, and so on and so forth. But bills need to be paid, and bootstrapping with a paycheck allows you to start working on your startup without compromising that security. And what do? What are you trying to do while you have your job? And here's something quite contrarian coming up. So pay attention. Do not write a line of code without first validating the business case for your venture. This is something that software engineers find it very difficult to digest. Software engineers are very good at writing code, and before doing the due diligence, they tend to start writing code. And I think it's a wrong way to build a venture. You don't want to become emotionally invested in writing a whole lot of code without first figuring out whether you have the business case for building a business. Now, do you know how to build a business case for a venture? A lot of people coming from the technology background do not have the business background to do a proper validation exercise, market sizing, pricing model, business model, pricing model, TAM analysis, and so forth, bottom-up TAM analysis, and so forth. All of those are elements that go into validating an idea and creating a business case. So I would suggest that you first also study some methodology of how to learn the process of business case development. So again, I'll give you a pointer to a free tool on the 1M by 1M website. Go to self-assessment. It's a free tool, questions that investors would ask you. I would like you to answer those questions yourselves about the idea that you're toying with. If you have multiple ideas, take each idea through this questionnaire and see what you're getting. If you get stuck on methodology elements, you can do 1M by 1M basic, which is our curriculum only option. You can, basically it's a video lectures and case study based curriculum. You can access it from anywhere in the world. That's again available online. But however you do it, while you still have your job, try to understand, try to learn how to validate and create a business case for your business and apply that methodology to trying to assess your idea and validate your idea. So that's my coverage of bootstrapping with a paycheck. The second thing that you need to learn is bootstrapping using services. One of the questions that AI entrepreneurs inevitably get, unless you're a second-time entrepreneur, a third-time entrepreneur, and the investors know you, is does your AI work? And how do you prove that your AI works? To do this, you need clients and you need data sets. So the second technique of bootstrapping that you would most likely end up using is bootstrapping with services. So you need to go find a client around your idea and have that client work with you in a services mode. So you need to convince this client that I have the expertise to solve your problem. And you have to level set that they have that problem and it's a problem that they really desperately want to solve and are willing to pay you to solve it. And you need to do a services contract so that they pay you a milestone up front as you start the project, and then they pay you in milestones as you deliver what you said you would deliver by way of a solution. And as you negotiate this contract, you need to negotiate such that the intellectual property rights for doing the services project for a client remains with you. This IP is going to be what you're going to build your product business out of. But to validate that the AI works, to get access to data sets and so forth, Bootstrapping with services is a very important piece. And this is also where you get paid. So you're getting seed capital in a way from a customer. So it's not investment, it's customer, it's revenue, and revenue is highly valued by investors. And it's going to be very helpful for you to not have to go chasing investors to help you get your business out off the ground. So that's bootstrapping with services. I expect that you will be using both bootstrapping with a paycheck and bootstrapping with services in getting your company off the ground. The third technique is bootstrapping by piggybacking. And what you're doing here is trying to piggyback on a horizontal AI platform, which has covered most of the elements of the technology stack that are commodity, so that you can ride on top of that and add your special sauce, your unfair advantage, your domain knowledge as the final layer of AI on top of an existing stack. Bootstrapping by piggybacking has been a tremendously successful startup mechanism, including in Silicon Valley. I would encourage you to look at a company called Viva. It's a multi-billion-dollar company that's almost $1 billion in revenue, and it's a healthcare IT company. This company was built on top of the Salesforce.com platform as a service technology. And all this company used was $4 million. And with that, they were able to build $600 million worth of revenue. And they in course of that, they raised other money, but they didn't really need the money because they didn't have a highly capital intensive way of building this business. They took the company public and have been a legendary company in the Silicon Valley ecosystem. And Salesforce.com's Force.com platform has been a tremendous spinner of this kind of bootstrapping by piggybacking companies. There have been many: Aptus, Velocity, which Salesforce has bought recently, Map Anything. All of these case studies, by the way, are available on our blog, and you can go study them. So decide which platform you want to ride on. And the other beauty of this bootstrapping and by piggybacking strategy is the platform that you're building on tend to have app marketplaces, and their developer ecosystem managers would help you find leads, and there's a lot of benefits to being part of a platform ecosystem of a larger company. And this also often creates opportunities for exit down the line. So very, very productive, very effective way of bootstrapping. So again, I believe that in doing your AI startup, you're going to have to use all three of these techniques: bootstrapping with a paycheck, bootstrapping by services, and bootstrapping by piggybacking. So I will conclude my commentary today by giving you some more pointers to AI case studies. Again, go back to the blog and look up the Precision Lender case study. The entrepreneur's name is Carl Ryden. They built this AI agent called Andy, and it was applied to the mortgage lending space. The company bootstrapped to $10 million, then raised some money, and was recently acquired. I think last winter it was acquired for $500 million by Q2 Holdings. Another case study that I encourage you to look at is Able, A-I-B-L-E is the name of the company. It is founded by an entrepreneur called Arijit Sengupta. Arijit is also the founder of Beyond Core, which is our earlier AI startup that Salesforce.com bought. So this is somebody who's actually doing a horizontal AI platform, but he can do that. He can get away with that because he's an experienced serial entrepreneur with great track record. So it's something that you would find interesting to look at how a horizontal AI platform is being built. And then back to some vertical AI case studies. Blue Shift, you can look at Blue Shift. Maniam Malela is the entrepreneur, and the domain is MarTech, marketing technology. It's a very hot domain where a lot of AI work is going on. Zine One, another one, Debjani Deb. another MarTech company, marketing technology, AI applications and marketing technology, also a good case study. And then a very cool one, Unique, UNEEQ. The entrepreneur is Danny Tomset, and they're doing a digital human technology. This is really, really sophisticated, cool stuff. So, I always teach the 1 million by 1 million program with case studies. If you decide that you want to work with me, you will get lots of pointers to case studies to learn from. We have over 1,000 successful entrepreneurs case studies. This includes 100+ unicorn entrepreneurs, another 400+ venture funded companies, 400+ bootstrap companies, and we have synthesized all this learning into a video lectures and case study based curriculum that you can access from anywhere in the world. And the 1 million by 1 million premium program, which is our full acceleration program, is also accessible from anywhere in the world. So those are my main comments and guidance on how you can bootstrap your AI startup. I would be thrilled to take questions. If you have questions, please let me. Okay, so I think that would bring me to the last question for the day. And that question is, how can I get feedback from you on my venture? So you want feedback from me. I would say the best way to do that would be to go to our website, 1mby1m.com, go to free public roundtables. You will find a schedule and a description of our free mentoring sessions. Those happen over a WebEx call on Thursday mornings, 8 a.m. Pacific time. So the next few are June 25th, July 2nd, July 9th, July 16th, July 23rd, and July 30th, all at 8 a.m. Pacific time. You can register to pitch or to attend. If you want to listen to a few sessions before you come and pitch, that's fine too. This is where I would be able to look at your project and specifically give you feedback on your venture and the situation you are in. How do you put one foot before the other? What is the best way to remove your roadblocks, and so on and so forth. So, we have done over 150,000 people. We've had over 150,000 attendees in these sessions. We've done over 490 sessions. We started doing these back in 2008, in the fall of 2008, as an experiment. And then out of that experiment emerged the idea of this online accelerator, the 1 million by 1 million global virtual accelerator. And that's, 1M by 1M was launched in 2010. So we're talking 10 years of, running this accelerator plus several years of experimentation before that. So there's a lot of experience and expertise that I've accumulated on this platform, and you're more than welcome to come and use the platform, take advantage of it. And the way I look at it is you get to stand on the shoulders of other people. It's a case study based program. We have over 1,000 case studies of successful entrepreneurs, including 100+ unicorns, 400+ venture funded companies, another 400+ bootstrap companies. And all of these are available, all these case studies are available for free on the blog under Entrepreneur Journeys. And then we have built the entire 1M by 1M digital curriculum, which is taught in case studies, video lectures, and video interviews. All that is based on this body of work. So if you want to go straight to the curriculum and get more structured learning, you need to sign up for 1M by 1M Basic. That's only $99 a month. And then if you want the full program, including regular weekly coaching and mentoring, strategy consulting, whatever you call it, access to our network, investor network, customers, channel partners, etc., I would join the 1 in Premium program, which is $1,000 annual membership fee. Whatever way you choose to engage is fine. We have lots of free touch points, and then we have a lot of reasonably priced touch points as well. So figure out how you want to learn. We do recommend that you spend time studying, because there are lots of obvious mistakes that first-time entrepreneurs make, and there is no need to make those mistakes. We can help you learn how to navigate without making those avoidable mistakes. And that's one of the stated goals of 1 million by 1 million, is to avoid infant entrepreneur mortality. We don't want you to go out of business unnecessarily. So that's it. And by the way, we believe very, very much in the philosophy, entrepreneurship equals customers, revenues, and profits. Financing is optional, exit is optional. So you don't need to build a unicorn company or $1 billion company to be a successful entrepreneur. Today, in this session, I discussed a bunch of solopreneur ideas that are, $300,000, $500,000, $1 million revenue opportunities. And that's fine. If that's what's comfortable for you, do that. No problem. You have our respect in whatever way you want to, crack the entrepreneurship code, as long as you build revenues and profits, because otherwise you go out of business, and that's not desirable. All right, folks, I will see you next time. Maybe I will see you on Thursday at a roundtable, or next week at one of these rendezvous sessions. Thank you for coming. I really enjoyed spending time with you, and I will be available to answer questions in the public chat in whichever platform you're dialing from. Bye-bye, everybody.